Do you want to know why I just said a New York slang? Well, because I'm obsessed with Desus and Mero. Their brand is so strong. I just said something like I'm from the Bronx. I want your brand to be just as strong. So I'm going to give you 3 tips to help you get there. Welcome to Coffee with Me, Myself, and Ivy, where I give professionals and entrepreneurs social media tips, communication industry best practices with pop culture examples. Before I talk about branding 101 and Desus and Mero, let's start off with a little motivation. Because woo child. Keep your eyes on the finish line and not on the turmoil around you. Rihanna. Alright guys, I'm gonna warn you. There's Baileys in my cup and my day has been rough. So let's talk about something I'm grateful for. Desus and Mero. They're part of my favorite pop culture distractions. I mean, there's the read, Jim Harold's Campfire, because the spooky, and a lot of YouTube. I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately. For some reason, I found Gabby and Nikki. Now I'm obsessed. But the point is, I am also obsessed with Desus and Mero. And shout out to my coworker that got me hooked on them. He tried to tell me about them during the Viceland days. A little bit about Desus and Mero. Desus Nice and the Kid Mero are media personalities and comedians that currently have a show on Showtime, and they have their podcast, The Bodega Boys. On their Showtime show, they have interviewed everyone from David Letterman to politicians, activists, movie stars, musicians, journalists, whoever. They have interviewed them all while being true to themselves. Their brand is so strong that's literally their tagline. They just released a book and they talk about Timberlands so much that I believe they now have a collab with Timberland that's going to be released the day of this video. The brand is strong. I still want to point out the fact that I started this video screaming "yer," and I know what chopped cheese is and a bodega, and I'm from the South. We don't talk about chopped cheese. We don't scream "yer." We say "man." But the point is, their brand is so strong. I was inspired to create 3 branding tips for you so your brand can be just as strong. Also, if you decide to check out Desus and Mero, don't watch it if you're sensitive and easily get offended, because it's not Eric Andre type of humor, but you can get offended. However, I love watching it because I'm grown. So let's talk about the tips. Tip 1. Don't put Baileys in your coffee while you're trying to film a YouTube video that you want to edit the same day. I'm just joking. Tip 1. Offer value. Desus and Mero's value is clearly they're funny, but also informative. They're so funny. When I'm having a very cloudy day, I watch Desus and Mero. To this day, if I need a good laugh, there's a clip where they make fun of Peppa Pig. That's hilarious. Go look it up. They offer value. Their value is being funny in a very unique form. I'll get to that later. And when I say they're informative, it's not a joke when I say they interview politicians. They have interviewed activists. They even interview journalists. And of course, there's entertainment news. But they are funny yet informative in a very unique Bronx, New York style. Kind of like talking to your funny cousin or uncle at the family reunion. You know, that guy that cracks jokes and may say something offensive, but will say something informative as well. And you'd be like, oh, he actually is wise. That's Desus and Mero, but with a lot of New York and Bronx slang. Do the same thing. What is your value? Make sure everyone knows your value. Make sure your value is screamed on top of the rooftops from your website, your social media, etc. What is your value? For example, I value McDonald's because they give me coffee. I value Starbucks because they give me coffee. I value Target because I go in there for one thing and come out with outfits, home decor, and groceries. I value all 3 of these brands who make it clear what they offer, and they all been in hot water, but I'm clearly loyal to them because I like coffee and Target. So the point is, offer value, but make it clear everywhere that your brand is valuable. Shout out to my coworker. Look, good coworkers make the world go round. All right, tip 2, interact with your audience. What I love about Desus and Mero, before COVID, they used to do these funny street interviews, and not in that traditional late night show, we're going to go to the streets of Manhattan. they'll go to a beach, they'll go to the Bronx, they'll cover a Puerto Rican Day parade. And because of COVID, they still do Zoom audience interviews. They not only do Zoom interviews with their audience, asking them their opinion or etc., they'll even do it with their staff. And it's hilarious. One time they had kind of like I think it was a holiday potluck, and Desus and Mero judged which coworker made the best food, again, before COVID. But even during COVID, they still have staff Zooms where they interview different people. But the point is, they involve both their external and internal audience, and they interact with them. They make them part of the brand. Interact with your audience. Make them part of the brand. Ask them on social media, how are they feeling? I feel like I'm part of Desus and Mero's brand because clearly my coworker bought me the cup. Anywho, interact with your audience. I promise you, if you offer value, interact with your audience, you will have a strong brand like Desus and Mero. Or maybe you too can have a Timberland shoe collaboration, or whatever you're into. I don't know. It's empty. I guess I'll give you tip 3. Be unique. The beautiful thing about Desus and Mero and their story of having a strong brand, I believe when they were transitioning shows, talking to different network execs, someone did not believe that their show would be successful across the country because they were so Bronx, New York. And look what happened. Now I'm running around saying, "You're" around my house, so the cat can be annoyed. She don't know what it means, but she actually came near me. And also I'm gonna post the definition of "you're" now. Okay, back to regular scheduled programming. Be unique. These young men have a late night TV show where they're totally themselves. Even during this COVID era, Mero, who has a family, is filming in his basement. You can see the family portrait in the background. Desus, who's a single man, I believe got a dog and a cat, he's filming behind a whole bunch of shoes. I believe my ex will be like very jealous of all the shoes that are in the background. But they're true to themselves. They're not trying to be like other late night hosts. Be yourself. Make sure your brand is unique. Make sure it stands out. My hometown mainly says Maine and y'all, and now it's not uncommon for me to understand the importance of a chopped cheese or a bacon, egg, and cheese, which New Yorkers love, from a bodega. So be unique. Figure out what makes you stand out. You want to know why I call this Coffee with Me, Myself, and Ivy? It's not because I'm like, oh, we're going to do a cute coffee chat. No, I'm really addicted to coffee. Everybody knows I love my coffee. My coworkers, my family, my friends, my exes, they know if Ivy don't have coffee, life is not going to be okay. Point is, be unique, stand out. So if you offer value, interact with your audience, and be unique, you too can have a strong brand like Desus and Mero. Thank you for watching another episode of Coffee with Me, Myself, and Ivy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and join me every week for social media tips, communication industry best practices with pop culture examples. Remember, keep your peace.